your experience and education and family, whatever, those types of things. Andrew, who is Andrew Graves?
Thank you, Yantis. My name's Andrew Graves, and I'm asking for your vote for Judge of County Court at Law Number 2 here in Tom Green County. This is my home. I grew up here. My folks were educators here. My dad was school superintendent here. As I grew up, my 4 siblings and I all graduated from Central High School. I played football and baseball for Central. After that, I went off to school in Lubbock, did all 7 years at Texas Tech, got both degrees there, got my undergraduate degree, as well as my law degree there. Okay. After that, I was an assistant district attorney in the criminal district attorney's office in Tarrant County, which is Fort Worth.
Okay.
And after I left there, I was in a toxic tort litigation law firm in downtown Dallas and did that for about a year. Right. And gained some pretty valuable experience handling those types of cases all over the state. And in that capacity, we were national counsel for ExxonMobil on their premises liability cases. After that, I stayed there, and then I came back here, and I've been back here for the last 17 years. And in the last 17 years, I have handled a myriad of different types of law. I've handled criminal defense law. I've handled probates, estates. I've handled lawsuits. I've handled family law extensively. I've handled all the types of things that this court handles. I have experience doing.
Very good. Well, let's talk about this court. I learn more every day, every year I do this, and the courts at law came into being, were created to take some of the pressure off of the county judge in Texas. And as such, they they hear misdemeanor cases, criminal cases, and there's 2 of them in Tom Green County. So, what are your impressions? What does the court at law judge do here, and what does the docket look like? Let's start there.
Well, the court at law judge, do you want me to start on what the judge does, or do you prefer me to talk about?
Let's do the judge first.
Okay. The judge for court at law, number one, has to be an attorney. Mm-hmm. And Tom Green County and a lot of your a little bit more urban, less rural areas, those counties are fortunate, and we're fortunate enough to be able to have those judges who can sit. Right now we have Judge Ben Nolan, who's the county court at law number 1 judge, mm-hmm. and he's been on the bench for several years. He's done an excellent job. As well as Judge Penny Roberts, and she's the sitting judge right now for County Court at Law Number 2, and she's no longer seeking re-election, and right. She deserves to be lauded for the effort that she's put forth over the last many years. Those judges handle in these courts the things that the county courts have to handle in rural courts without the benefit of an attorney doing it.
Okay.
So it's an advantage that counties of our size have to be able to have those types of judges available. They handle the misdemeanor criminal cases, typically your Class A and your Class B misdemeanors. Okay. Those are the difference between a misdemeanor. A lot of people don't know the difference between a misdemeanor and a felony is that a felony, you're looking at prison time.
Right.
On a misdemeanor, the ones that are punishable by any type of jail time are in that particular county's county jail.
Okay.
Now, some of our counties in our rural areas don't have jails that are operable, so they will be sent to other jails that they pay a fee for.
Right.
So the criminal cases that are being held, typically, and a lot of people can come up with them when I ask, your first-time DWIs, that's a Class B misdemeanor. A Class B misdemeanor is punishable by anywhere up to 6 months in the county jail, okay, and or up to a $2,000 fine.
All right.
Of course, it's not just jail time. That can include probation or any type of drug court or diversion programs. Class A misdemeanors, and I'm just giving you an example, of course.
Yeah.
Class B misdemeanors, there's some other ones, of course. There's several of them. Some of your trespassings, some of your theft, depending upon the level, shoplifting. But on Class A misdemeanors, those are punishable by anywhere up to a year in the county jail, okay, and or up to a $4,000 fine. And those would be like your second-time DWIs, if you've had a prior conviction, your assault cases, including some family violence cases, things like that.
Okay. Now, there's also the civil side of that, and that would be probates and civil suits and credit card stuff. That's also on the docket that the court at law judges see.
Absolutely. Yantis, and it's one of the things that doesn't get a lot of attention. It doesn't make the news, obviously. It's not on our blog or our blotter. We don't see that come up. But they are no less important. And matter of fact, Yantis, these courts handle those matters. They handle lawsuits. They handle probates. They handle guardianships. Actually, if the legislature saw fit, these courts could gain family law jurisdiction, which is, again, when we talk about it, I'm the only candidate who has experience regarding any of those things, and I have experience with all of them.
Okay.
Now, the important thing that's there for the voters to understand is this court handles criminal matters. Yes, I have extensive experience handling criminal matters on both sides, which is important.
Right.
But having experience handling one of these other civil matters, these non-criminal matters, your voters are much more likely to end up in front of the court on one of those things. And that's why it's important to keep that in mind for the voters, to be educated about who's most qualified for that.
All right. Just quickly, that reminded me that somewhere along this course, I saw that district judges, if they see fit, can actually assign to a court at law judge a case that they would normally hear in a district court.
Those are
They're probably rare,
very rare.
but that authority is there. So the court at law judge could, in a certain circumstance, act in the place of a district judge, if a district judge so saw fit.
Yes, and I want to say our district judges, thankfully, we've got 4 excellent district judges.
Yes, we do.
have retired district judges who have served us well, and they can come in and sit on an ad hoc basis if needed. I've worked very long and very hard with all of our judges, and that's where you learn how to be a good judge. I'll tell you learn by watching. And again, as far as my candidacy is concerned, I'm the only candidate who's handled cases on as broad of a spectrum as anyone in this race. I've handled cases in over 30 different counties in the state of Texas, and that's in court. That's not just cases. I mean, I've handled things all over. However, I've appeared in front of over 100 different judges at different levels in my 21-year career. And that's where you learn the proper way to handle cases. That's where you learn proper judicial temperament, from learning from the best. And we've got some of the best ones here, but I've been very blessed to be able to appear in front of many, many judges.
I agree, and that's when we do pass in the courthouse. It's always, well, I've got to get here and I've got to get there. I've got cases all out of county and other counties, and so you stay really busy. We could sit here and talk all day, but I know you are busy and you have another case coming up shortly. So this is where I'm gonna back away from the microphone and I'm gonna let you talk directly to the voters. And this is, I tell everyone who sits in that seat, we reach about 60 to 62,000 people. That's our audience. So you won't be before a larger audience other than right here and right now. So what is Andrew Graves' message to the voters? So that's between you and them. So I'm out of it right now.
Thank you, Yantis. I want to thank San Angelo Live for this opportunity. But more importantly, I want to thank you, the voter, for educating yourself. You're not watching this unless you're wanting to educate yourself, unless you are wanting to be the best kind of voter, and that is an informed voter. The message is simple. It's the same message that we've talked about already some today, and it is simple. It's here, and it's here. And that message is, what kind of person, what kind of experience, what kind of qualifications do you want, and quite frankly, what do you need to be the person who's going to be the sitting county court at law number 2 judge? And I'm here to tell you that I am the candidate who has the best qualifications, the most experience. I've been doing it longer, been doing it for 21 years. I have been a lifelong, other than my stint in the Metroplex and in school, this is my home. And I came back here for a reason. I have worked tirelessly as a public servant since I've been back here in private practice. As you know, I have worked and volunteered my time, effort, energy, and money on countless boards here for volunteer organizations. And I believe strongly in that. And this is my opportunity to continue my public service, but in an official capacity. But as a voter, what is most important is you need someone who has not just criminal experience, which I have the most criminal experience, but you need someone that when you end up in front of this court on a non-criminal matter, which is the most likely thing to happen, you need someone who will not have a learning curve, who will be able to step in and do it and will do it correctly. That's why the San Angelo Police Officers PAC chose to endorse me in this. And that's a very crucial endorsement because they understand not just one aspect of this role. And that's why I'm asking for your endorsement, and that's why I'm asking for your vote and your support for Judge for County Court at Law number 2. Thank you.
Okay. How do they get hold of you? How do they find out more about you?
Thank you, Yantis. As I said, it is here, but obviously you can't read that. It's www.gravesforjudge.com. And we'll be happy to. You can also follow us on Facebook.
There you go.
We have that Graves for Judge,
okay.
And we're taking all comers, and we're happy to answer questions. And if you want to visit, we'll be glad to set that up.
Andrew Graves, thank you for being here. The election, the Republican primary, is March 1st. Early voting starts Valentine's Day,
Yep.
February 14th.
Yep.
And you do have an opponent. There is not a Democrat in the race, and there's not an independent in the race. So whoever wins this primary will go through the November election process and be sworn in January 1st, I believe, of 2023.
That is correct. It is a winner-take-all primary,
Okay.
And that's why it's very important for your educated voters to make sure that they're educated and make sure that they get out and vote, regardless of whom you vote for. It's important to take part in that process.
And we were talking about this earlier. This is a big ballot. It's a long ballot, and the local races are toward the end of that long ballot. So if you're looking for Andrew Graves' name, you got to turn a few pages and swipe a bunch to get there, but it's worth the effort to vote in every race there is.
It absolutely is. I mean, making sure that you're educated about it and voting in those races. I've said this for years, and I've been a dedicated Republican for many years. As you know, I've been involved. I've dedicated my time to that and my money to good candidates. But if you want to have a say in your local leaders, this is the way to do it. And your local leaders that as Yantis was talking about, down further on the ballot, those are the people who are going to have a greater effect upon your day-to-day life than anybody up at the top. And that's why it's super important.
That's right. That's right. Once again, Andrew Graves, thanks for being here, candidate in the Republican primary March 1st for County Court at Law Judge number 2. For San Angelo Live, I'm Yantis Green.